Hit them with it.
Good morning, everybody.
There it is.
Happy Sunday.
Welcome into Bills Game Day here. Derek Kramer, Zach Jones with you as we get you ready for today's 1 o'clock kickoff between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins with Chris Brown and Eric Wood calling the play-by-play from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Reimer Home Services. Homes rely on the Rhino. It is time now for Bills Game Day. It's powered by Anderson Water, Power, and Air. Anderson, tap into a better living.
And this opening segment of Bills Game Day is brought to you by Crosby's Pizza and Subs, Crosby's hometown fuel, game day ready since 1992. Now the
there we
Bills have
go.
been
We
paid.
got it all done.
The Bills have been paid. We can start rolling forward as the Bills get ready to take on the Miami Dolphins. 1 p.m. kickoff down in South Florida. Some injuries to both teams. However, both teams are in wildly different situations. Miami has fired their general manager. It seems like they are hurtling towards a full rebuild, while the Bills just beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They're actually a 2-0 post the bye with some pretty resounding wins, Carolina and Kansas City. And now looking to, funny enough, even up the all-time series against the Miami Dolphins with a win today. I think it'll be 62-62-1 because we love ties. And yeah, should be a fun day. The weather down in South Florida looks incredible. The same cannot be said here. Driving in this morning, Derek, and listening to Joe Kelly do the weather.
Sense the salt.
Yeah, not happy.
The anger. Like, you could definitely, he's laughing right now because we're staring right at him. Matter of fact, we got to
this week.
Keep ourselves turned over here because an old friend helping run things along this morning, by the way.
Joshua Schmidt.
There
we go. Yeah, and it's going to be a fun morning.
And almost as if in flawless execution from days past, we were late to our show.
Yes. Nailed it.
Back like we never left.
Welcome back, buddy.
Left. So, Bills taking on the Dolphins today. They are in, of course, a battle for the AFC East with the New England Patriots. We will talk much more on the Patriots later on this morning. They are taking on Tampa Bay at the exact same time. Spoiler alert, I would argue there's a good chance if this game goes correctly for the Bills, I'll be paying far more attention in the second half to that contest. But today for the Bills, I think now for me, Derek, and we were going back and forth before we jumped on, of, where are we at? We don't want to say the exact same things over and over again of, what do you want to see today other than a Bills win? Like, you don't want to say the same things over and over again.
That is a cop-out move. And it's always a cop-out move. Do not always just say, just a win. First of all, I totally understand at this point, like, a win's a win. They don't ask how, they ask how many. This isn't the, what was that thing back in college football? The BCS.
Yeah.
This isn't the BCS. We're not getting style points awarded for each win. But at the same time, it's about what you want to see hyper-focused. Do you want to see something a little bit more in particular? And I guess when you ask it that way of, like, if you open it that way to everything, if people don't have something in mind, that's the thing they're just going to come to is, all right, just a win.
Just a win.
And I'll tell you right now, while it's not the BCS, some of these things are, I don't want to say important to others, but I do think there is something about it where it's not just that cut and dry either. As I find difficulty to find the words here on this, I'm one of those people where I will typically enjoy it and have far less to criticize if there is a win attached at the end of the day. That said, there was a recent example of what you don't want to see in a win.
Denver and Las Vegas. Don't give me Thursday night football, and I'll probably be pretty okay. Look, there are different aspirations for the Bills, right? Like, they're at a point now. Yes, a win is a win, and we've talked about this a lot this year because it seems like after every win, we're all complaining about something, which is fine. But they have different aspirations. Their aspirations are for stuff in January and hopefully February with the Super Bowl. But a win is a win. I think, though, with this opponent today, the way the Dolphins play defense and where they're weak at, the Bills should be able to dominate. Like, I look at today, James Cook, you're 133 yards away from 1,000 yards on the season. Go get it. Go get it. You are having a year that if it weren't for Jonathan Taylor summoning LaDainian Tomlinson level spirits out here for how many touchdowns he's having and how good of a season he's having, Cook would be arguably the best running back in football this year. Dalton Kincaid is starting to get going, and he is healthy post the bye, and you're really starting to see that happen. And maybe not even as much as they should have, but they did a little bit. The Dolphins sold at the deadline. Again, maybe not as much as they should have, but they did, losing Jalen Phillips. They, I don't think, are in a good situation compared to really almost anyone in the AFC outside of like the Jets and the Titans. They are in a bad spot. Take advantage. You don't lose to this team very often. You really beat them down quite often. It's also not September in Miami where it's as hot as the sun. It's going to be 85 degrees likely at kickoff, around there. Yeah. It's still hot, don't get me wrong. But the way the Bills play football this year, this to me feels like they can just run this team over. And perfect scenario, there's a couple turnovers, they get a few easy scores there, and all of a sudden it's 28-3 in the third quarter, and you can start pulling people because they are still dealing with injuries. I don't want to, diss that. I mean, you got
Cook
guys
in particular dealt with an ankle to start the week, and that had a lot of people, myself included, a little worried about what this game script might look like if they have to start throwing the football in a way that probably more than I would say Joe Brady's comfortable with. But no, it turns out that's not the case. Everything's fine. There is no injury designation on Cook whatsoever. It is interesting to see, though, like what type of win makes fans more comfortable than others. And you and I were talking about this getting ready, and I brought up the New Orleans game. If I see that today against a division opponent, I'm probably taking that one very comfortably. Like, yeah, there's some drama. The first half's not pretty. And eventually you do pull away and you do make it more of a convincing two-possession win. And for some people, there was a bad taste in the mouth with the New Orleans game. Not as bad as Miami, where you needed a late interception to then have that field goal to make it a 10-point game. If it's Carolina, boring, but you win by 31, all day.
The Carolina game does look very different now that the weeks have gone on. You play maybe your best game overall against Kansas City the week following. Carolina gets an upset win over Green Bay the next week. That win looks much, much better. Where at the time, and it's still Andy Dalton, I get it. But at the time it was, whatever, it's Carolina, they still can't pass the ball, what have you. Now that game just looks like, no, you imposed your will on them. And it was a dominating win that they just never had a moment to breathe. And you kind of carried that into Kansas City. It takes a 4th and 17 conversion, a missed field goal at the end for that not to be a double-digit win again in the regular season over Kansas City. So the Bills, post the bye, unsurprisingly, look like they're in their best form. I mean, honestly, that's where they're at. They look like they're in their best form. They've just picked up a few key injuries in back-to-back weeks. Ed Oliver against Carolina, Michael Hoyt against Kansas City. For me, where I'm at with the Bills is I'm actually in a pretty good spot. I didn't love that they didn't make any move at the trade deadline. The Tom Pelissero report this morning shows they wanted to make something big in division. They couldn't get it done. That I'm not exonerating Brandon Beane from not doing anything. I don't think he's exonerating himself from not doing anything. He sounded very annoyed in his press conference with the media. But they wanted to go add something. However, they are still one of the Super Bowl favorites. Just keep that train on the tracks. Just keep moving that way. If Kincaid is going to be your leading receiver today, okay. Because 2 of the last 3 games, he's had 6 catches over 100 yards. And so I'm cool with that.
Right.
If that's how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be this year. If Josh Palmer's a little bit healthier and we can maybe start to see something more that was maybe peaking out during the Atlanta game when they actually got him going down the field and maybe had a full game plan for him, great. I'm somewhat off of Keon Coleman. I'm not going to sit here and go, I need a big game from him. I don't know if that's coming. I don't. But they've got maybe enough talent on offense to get it done. And if you're a Bills fan too, just look at the Kansas City Chiefs from 2-3 years ago when they're winning a Super Bowl with Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore and Juju Smith-Schuster, but they had Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, and that's kind of what they needed. For the Bills, maybe it's they have Josh Allen and James Cook, and it's kind of all they needed. Maybe that is the case. They're still one of the best offenses in football. The defense is starting to really come around here. Again, I think their 2 best performances defensively are the last 2 weeks. And if you want to go all the way back to the second half of Atlanta, you can. And I'm not going to fight you on it. they seem to be rounding into form at the perfect time of the middle point of the season. We're starting to see who everybody is, where everyone's weaknesses are, and where you have a team like Denver who, yes, is 8-2. They did win the game against Vegas. You probably have way more questions about them as a Denver fan than you do about the Bills right now.
And I think that, again, there's a varying amount of ways that this can go where I think everything will end up fine. Just don't give me Denver from Thursday night. And that's pretty easy because you're not playing on Thursday night. I also do think that Thursday Night Football kills quality far more effectively than any team ever can. So that's probably where we're going to get in this one. I don't worry about the Bills in Miami. As a matter of fact, I have jokingly said I should take lessons after the Patriots and Falcons game about learning to be humble as an observer. Miami does not allow me to do that. Miami is so bad and so just deteriorating in their structure from what they tried to build. I'm surprised McDaniel's still even sitting there. You would think that a lame duck head coach in this sort of opportunity would be donezo by now, but they're going to ride out the rest of the season, it looks like, with him, unless more catastrophic games happen. And yet you saw the reports out there that maybe they keep McDaniel around, and that maybe, it is Tua that is more of identified as the problem. That's another one. You've got a bad quarterback who's played exponentially worse since the last time you saw him in week 3. Tua played solid against the Bills, one of his better days of the season. And while I do think that had to do with the Bills playing off and allowing Tua to hit his first read right away, he was also not a total disaster yet. His worst football had yet to come that season, or this year. Lo and behold, here we are now, and Tua at one point was tied with Geno in the league lead for interceptions. You can rattle him, you can get to him, and fluster him, and I do think that that is going to be because you now have a more athletic profile on the field in Maxwell Hairston.
Hairston, he has been such a revelation on defense. The loss of Hoyt's going to hurt, but them getting just overall more athletic on defense, I think, has helped them. Hairston, after seeing what he was able to do against Worthy, and Worthy, you can argue, is much more of, he's closer to a gadget guy than he is number one, and there's a wide difference there. I understand that. But watching him go stride for stride with Worthy and really kind of hold it down the last 2 weeks in spot duty. I mean, he's coming back. But for a guy that basically didn't participate in training camp and has really just been on the sidelines rehabbing and getting ready and in the film room and in the meetings and what have you, it's been awesome to see that he is going to be a factor this year. I was worried that we were getting to a point it was going to be a redshirt year for him, that he had missed too much of training camp, he's going to miss too much of the year, and when they're game planning, when they're getting ready for games, they can't drag him along. You saw it last year with Bishop. Bishop, that was the biggest problem. He missed most of training camp, and it got to a point he can only come in really when we got injuries. We cannot rely on him. Now, you're seeing now that he's got more games under his belt and everything like that, you see his best game last week as a player, as a pro, by far. That was his best game. Hairston's kind of been the opposite, where he missed more training camp, more game time, and yet he has come in right away and seems to just be in a great spot. Maybe that's due to Jordan Poyer, the vet presence of just pointing people where to go, putting everyone in good spots, getting everyone comfortable, and letting them just be athletic, being young players, almost ignorance is bliss kind of just go out and play, go out and have fun. Maybe that is the case. Maybe Hairston is just a smash hit in a draft class that is turning out to be very, very good. With Hairston now 2 games in, you have Deion Walker in the 4th round. He's been a presence since day one at training camp, let alone in the season. And then a guy that's somewhat been forgotten just because he only has 1 touchdown all year, and he's a blocking guy. But Jackson Hawes has been a huge factor to what they're doing. So you're
almost
right.
Almost a cult favorite, so to say, right away, too.
Cold favorite right away, but you're right. I mean, like the defense, they've got better athletes out there now. Hancock kind of filling in as sort of like that rotational safety, third safety almost, passing downs and what have you. They're in a much better place. For me, going the rest of the way here, I just wish we had one of Hoyt or Oliver healthy for the year. That's the only thing is you don't lose them back to back. Oliver, it looks like he could be maybe back for the playoffs, Hoyt, though, we're looking at next year.
You're looking at next year. And, man, that video afterward of him being mic'd up and wanting to be out there with the team. You and I, behind the scenes last week, you are producing. I'm in the producer's room with you. So we're ahead a little bit of the broadcast. And we do get a little bit of the behind-the-scenes look because of that. And you hear them say, like Chris Brown, Eric Wood, we hear them saying that the card's there for Hoyt, and all of a sudden, nope, he doesn't want to go. And I think the first thing I said to you was, I don't think he wants the morale to dip.
No, that's pretty clear.
And lo and behold, on the video, he does not want to leave. He wants to stay there and support the team. And you hear him say it multiple times, we'll deal with this tomorrow. Like, he knows he's cooked. Mm-hmm. And we'll deal with it tomorrow.
But keep it going for right now.
Keep the vibes high. I'm going to be here for the rest of the team. I can only imagine after the adrenaline wears down how much pain and irritation he's in on that bench. Mm-hmm. That cannot feel good. But that is something where it is tough to see. But then you look at that player and what he was doing for you and how much he meant to the sidelines in that video. Man, are you happy you got a multi-year deal out of that one? Because he does look like the type of player you want in a locker room. And if he can get back to most of his ability after an Achilles tear, that's a tough ask. But take your time, be patient. That is someone that, as they say, certified dog in him right there.
Yeah, he had a different energy that the defense just simply didn't have most of the year. I was looking forward to him. I didn't think he would actually be that much of a difference maker for them for the 7 quarters they got out of him. But it is a shame. And also, bring up Ed Oliver, too. He had his best year. I think he was on track to, because every game he played in, he had a sack. And he was playing at such a high level. Now, though, it is going to be the likes of T.J. Sanders and Landon Jackson, though, having to pick up the slack. Jackson, he's probably getting a game day jersey.
Yeah.
Just due to injuries and due to the need to be out there. Are we even going to notice him? That's going to be something.
And it needs to be better. Look, spare me on the redshirt season draft pick thing. If you are good enough, you will play. You will have a game day jersey for something. And when you do have a game day jersey, you should be at least registering some sort of tackle even on special teams if you do. This is where the irritation has gotten there with me with Landon Jackson because of the fact that he has suited up a couple times this year. If a box score watcher took a look and said, where's the 3rd round pick? Is he injured for the year? You'd have to answer no, because he has suited up a couple times this year and he's not recorded a single statistic. You need more already because you are being outpaced by the rest of the draft class by a lot. You need more out of the 3rd round pick that was seen as an incredible athletic score. And some mock drafts even gave the Bills Jackson at pick 30.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that is probably what we're looking at here. You need better. Even if it's your rookie year, I need something. I need something out of Jackson that can convince me that he should have a game day jersey. This is the first step to do so today. Is it nitpicky of me to go after a general manager about a 3rd round rookie this year? Yes. Am I going to do it necessarily? Not in this instance, like on that in particular. But it does seem a little interesting to me that this defensive draft class, as talented as it was, you and I were diving into this thing in this past March, where we were wowed by so many positions, wowed by so many players. And a lot of them have shown up on several teams. And I've got a guy here who can't record a statistic. It is frustrating. And I would imagine if you turn to the player, that would be the same word he'd use too. There has to be better. There needs to be better. Because Jackson, in particular, really does sink the grade of the draft class because of the lack of contribution. At least Sanders got in and got game day jerseys, and he got playing time, he got snaps, he got tackles before his injury. At least Maxwell Hairston has come back, and he has immediately stepped in to the occasion. At least Deion Walker has been a contributor day one. At least Jackson Hawes has been able to do something that the scouting report doesn't really give you, which is catch the ball.
Yeah.
I've gotten nothing out of the 3rd round pick. And that's not good enough. And the player probably understands that more than anyone.
Yeah, time to burn the red shirt, see what you got.
Exactly.
The injuries have built up enough to where you don't really have that out anymore.